Come back to our YouTube channel. I want to talk about creativity and dimensions of consciousness. Today, my name is Rüdiger Fleitsch. I'm teaching consciousness, different ways, tools to perceive in a different way what's around, what's inside, what's around, so that we can find new opportunities, business-wise, individually, to get to a better level in our lives. What are levels of or dimensions of consciousness? How can this be explained, and why is it important for creativity? Let me start with creativity. You might know this when you are sitting or on your desk, or you are in a meeting, or you are somewhere thinking about a problem. And you really try to solve that problem, and whatever solution you think of, there is something to it which you have the feeling, if we choose this solution, we create more problems than we solve. So this is not really helpful. By the way, this is why we offer for organizations and companies our systemic problem solving class, where people learn tools to not create solutions which cause more problems than they solve. So creativity needs this kind of being focused. It needs the willingness and the intention to solve a problem. However, sometimes you get so trapped in this thinking and so engaged in this thinking, and actually it's a proof how committed people are, that they get trapped, as paradox as this might sound, that the best thing you can do is put everything away. Go for a walk, do something else, go to sports, play with your kids, bring your son to the soccer field and your daughter to the hockey team, start to paint, take a walk, have a good time with your wife or your husband, and we know creativity needs opening. A lot of people people in companies, they tell me they have in the mornings when they wake up, shortly before they wake up, all of a sudden they have an insight. Some have an insight under the shower. Some have an insight while hiking somewhere during vacation. This is surprising, isn't it? And hopefully you have a sheet of paper or your mobile with you, and you take a note, because you have to capture it, otherwise it will be gone. So there is the opening. The opening comes from changing your state, as it is labeled in systemic thinking. What really happens is you open a box, you step out of a box, and you open for other ideas, thinking to come to you. Levels of and dimensions of consciousness can best be described indeed by a box. And in this box there are rules, there are assumptions, there are beliefs, there are kind of implicit instructions, what you have to do to be safe, what you better not do, which is bringing you into danger, what to say, what not to say, and so that you can't survive. This is what we call three-dimensional consciousness. Three-dimensional consciousness is a box with very dense, rigid rules. very dense and rigid rules in terms of we versus them, musts, shoulds, have tos, don't, you cannot change that. One indication is that whenever I talk to people individually, they open up and they say, well, yeah, you know, if it was for me, we would do this, and I would do that and that, and I have talked to this guy and this guy and this guy. And as soon as they are in a meeting, this is gone. It's not because these are weak people. It's not because these people do anything wrong. It's because the nature of this three-dimensional consciousness is to take away your memory, your awareness, your clear perception. And there are other traits. We come back to this later. Threat is one motivational strategy. I heard people saying, well, yeah, whenever someone puts me under pressure, I perform best. This is really an interesting thing because a lot of people believe that. But what happens is it keeps you in this dense box, in this heavy, dense box. You might have encountered people you were talking to because I assume you're a creative person when you come to this video, and you've talked to them and you made some suggestions. And say, oh no, we'll not work because of that. And say, and how about that? Oh, we'll not work because of that. And how about that? Oh no, it will not. Well, okay, maybe this is true. But maybe it's also due to the fact that people have this fear to, how should I say that? To run in a situation where they feel insecure, they could not survive it, where they feel threatened. Interestingly enough, we can change that. We can support people to find this opening so that they can come to a level which is not as rigid as that. Because when you are in a rigidity, your brain has strengthened all the synaptic connections between the nerves. And what the brain does more often, it does more often. Why? Because the street is already built. So this is a kind of catch-22 situation. The very moment organizations need more creativity, they close down. People shut down into a kind of fear, stuck state, oh, we could, but actually the others don't. And this is not friendly, and you know the bosses will never change, which might be true or not. But what we do is something different. We support you to find the openings you need at 5:11 in the morning to find a solution for a problem. And we can do that systematically. Not only in terms of to tell you which strategy to choose, like the Disney strategy when he was using Dreamer, Realist, Critic, or something like that. No, this is a perfect thing which has really, really very deep implications. Now what we do is we help you to reconstruct an inner flow of energy, an inner structure of your energy, so that you can be open for new ideas. Let me compare it with a magnet. You know a magnet, and you put a sheet of paper on it, and you put these iron crumbs on it, and you know this magnetic forces, they organize the direction of the iron crumbs. Now if you want to change something, an opening, you can start to push away the iron crumbs, but they will always come back into the same pattern. You have to change the force behind the magnet. You have to discharge the magnet or recharge it in a different way. This is what we do, and this is helping you in a very elegant, nearly effortless way. It takes practice, of course, but it's effortless to find these openings, which are really important. This has a very, very important implication. And the implication is your role as an individual in the organization. Mostly people say, if you address them individually, oh, I'm not big enough, I can't do that, they are more. You should not be so egotistic, you should not do this, you should not do that. You hear that language? Should not. It's not allowed, it's forbidden. This is the language of three-dimensional consciousness. Soon as we change to open to more choices, and then go even further to establish a kind of consciousness which is detached from being trapped in all these thinking patterns, but is still connected and can communicate with people around. The very moment you achieve that, you will have the opportunity for your breakthroughs in the technologies you need in your company. And the individual, it always starts with the individual. It always does. Look at Microsoft, look at the Golden Gate Bridge and the Austrian engineer who was hallucinating a bridge on two columns across the San Francisco Bay. Look at Facebook, look at in Madison, the history of Madison is full of that. It always starts in the individuals, because the individuals are important. And as soon as the individual can open, the environment can also shift. This is a concept. You might start to discuss that. Maybe you can allow yourself to have this opening to think, what if this concept was appropriate for opening? Not whether it's right or wrong, true or false. What if this concept is more appropriate to achieve what we want than our thinking in psychology and in psychological terms to say, oh, this is the weakness of the person, this is the strength of the person, this is the weakness of the team, strength of the team, or this is the nature of people. We do not know what the nature is, we just know how it appears. Our DNA is only used to a certain degree. And our brain has more possibilities to connect, to produce synaptic connections than the universe has atoms. But what we use is only a small thing. And why do we use only a small thing? Because we have learned to shut down in order to be able to live in the box and to survive. But it's no longer about survival. It's no longer about living in the box. It's about opening, it's about finding different ways to create teams, different ways to be creative, different ways to solve problems in a cooperation and in a co-creation. I hope you find this interesting, and if you have comments, questions, remarks, please subscribe to our channel. We are happy to answer your questions, and see you again next time. Be pleased with yourself.